Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Grange TV. Done on this glorious day. We have with us David Roberts, a TAFE extraordinaire, Robert Whittaker,
Wow.
and Andrew McCullough, State of Origin hooker and Broncos hooker. Am I
Cheers,
correct?
boys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming, mate.
What's happening? What's been happening with the...
How's your preseason?
Yeah, it's been pretty bit dramatic at the start, mate, to be honest. We didn't know sort of what was going on, obviously, with the coaching saga going on. But once that sort of transition and the switch happened, got moving pretty quickly. You know, Siebes brought some real intensity to our training and, brought Paul Devlin and all the guys along that, brought different ideas and different approaches to training. And it took us a couple of weeks to adapt, but we're starting to see a few rewards now that we're starting to taper off the training.
What was it like for you guys in the team when the whole coaching thing was happening?
Yeah, it was just a strange one for us.
Because did you guys have any more information than anybody else?
Well, not really. I guess maybe a little bit more than the public, but outside of that, in the boardroom where all the big guys are, they make all the tough decisions. We sort of maybe kept out of the loop a little bit. It's probably in a good way too. You'd rather not know too much stuff about, obviously Wayne and Anthony. So, it was a strange one, but I think either way, both teams just wanted clarity, and they ended up getting that.
Yeah, you need it. But then Siebes came up straight away, didn't he?
Yeah,
and you guys got the ball rolling.
Yeah, I think it was within 24 to 48 hours. Anthony was
Monday
already
or something.
back up at training at Purtell's Park, and it was just a quick trade and swap and new coaching stuff and different ideas. It all happened within 48, 72 hours.
Was the trade hard? Like having someone like Wayne who's like such an integral part of the Broncos for such a long time.
Oh, I wouldn't say hard. It's just one of those mindset where it got to the stage of the situation between, probably Wayne going to South and Anthony coming here the year later. That I think both sides were thinking, why don't just do it now? And
just do it.
Yeah, the current environment of rugby league, a lot of players and coaches do swap a lot, so it's not as drastic as probably what people think sometimes. People change clubs all the time and need to adapt. And Anthony's coming with a real great ideas and different concepts that the boys are enjoying.
But for you personally, you'd only ever played as a first grader for Wayne?
Oh, well, no, I had Anthony Griffith, who was at Penrith originally.
Oh, right.
And I had Ivan Hanjak as well for 2 years. So I've heard about this.
Because you've only been here, though, haven't you?
Yeah, I've only just been here. So Wayne was my debut coach back in 2008, and I only had a year with him then, and he sort of went to St George, and Ivan came along for 2 years, and I think Cook was about 4, and then Wayne came back. So, it's been a bit of a, translation there between different coaches, but evidently Wayne came back and wasn't to be, and now he's a good group of players down at South.
You debuted as an Origin player last year.
Yeah, got my first chance, and like many guys in Queensland, a dream come true, and a lot of hard work, not just from last year, but probably growing up that you put in to get to that. Get the chance to put that jersey on, and lucky enough to do that. But you want to put it on a few more times.
What was that like? Because you played for a long time. You were a veteran in the sport, and you haven't played you weren't able to play Origin before that.
I guess when I was a bit younger, not frustrated, but you start to question whether it was going to happen or not. But as you got older, I continued just to train hard, and I was always wanting to get more, but if that didn't happen, I wasn't going to be disappointed in myself. I was always going to turn up pre-season, train hard, play hard for my teammates, and try and be the best player I can be. And with that, I think rewards come along to people who put in that hard work, and you never know what was around the corner. I doubt many people would have thought Cameron Smith was going to retire the way he did, and all of a sudden the way he did. But you got to be in that position ready to go at any time, and I felt I did that, even though I'd come back from an AC that previous year. And rewards come to those people who sort of keep at it.
What was it like? Like someone like Cameron Smith, who never got injured, What was it like? Did you wish hateful shit upon him to get injured?
I think
Did you have a voodoo doll?
I think in the New South Wales Blues were probably thinking that as well there for a while. No, not at all. You don't wish that upon any player, and a great player and someone that not just myself, but probably a lot of guys around the football teams that have played with him respect him for the hard work and the effort he puts in for their clubs. And it sets a bit of a goal for other players to put their bodies on the line week out, and it just demonstrates you put in the hard work. You can play a lot of games in a tough position.
I got a question because wearing that maroon jersey, is that like in here in Queensland, is that like the pinnacle almost? Because I feel like there's a bit of a different mentality, down back in New South Wales.
We got heaps more stuff to do, but in New South Wales.
Yeah, we're much more interesting, and it's just
this is a bit of a chance to tee up on Maroons, is it? I guess so. I think that's just something growing up as a kid. You always watching. You always, I guess, Maroons are an underdog, and growing up.
Weren't for 10 years.
Not for a very long time.
I don't think you understand underdog.
Growing up for me in the early 90s, we were. So
we stopped watching Origin.
Yeah, I know, but
it's true. It's actually true. Like Origin died a little bit for us down in New South Wales.
Yeah, well, we had some running jokes there for a while, but the boys got us one up now from last year. But yeah, just something the dream come true, and I think you'd ask a lot of Queensland kids if there's something that they ever get to do, they'd definitely put their hands up.
What do you think makes Origin such a big thing for Queensland as opposed to maybe New South Wales?
Well, like you said, I know we had a bit of a laugh there, but not being the underdogs, but I guess you look back how it all originated. A lot of New South Wales took Queensland players down there, so they played for New South Wales, so all the Queensland teams had, not so probably shouldn't say as talented players, but didn't get the opportunity to go to Sydney, so they played here and got beaten a lot. Early 90s when the New South Wales team was stacked, we had a lot of great memories, and I think that just sticks in kids' memories when they see that and they want to be a part of something like that. And you look at the great teams now, the last 10 or 12 years in that team, you just wish you could put that jersey on like those players did.
Do you have a question? Because I have a question. I was looking at Matt Lodge, and he's like double your size.
Yeah.
What's that like when these people run at you?
Is that your question?
It's a statement.
That's not much of a question.
Just letting you know, he's bigger than
Lodgy,
you.
Lodgy's all right. He's a big cuddly teddy bear. But, I don't know. I guess this comes back to repetition and practicing. And I've got my head in the wrong places a few times and obviously cop the consequences for that. And I guess that's just like fighting. The more repetition, the more practice you do, you learn to get used to it and, not just blow yourself out in games and learn to, absorb some energy and absorb the contact when they're running at you.
Well, what's it like? And you're by no means a small guy. Like people, just comparatively to Lodgy. Lodgy's a monster of a man. I don't think there's any small,
How heavy are you?
About 89, 90.
Yeah.
What's it like having like those big forwards, like the big guys, like the Burgess boys and stuff, like running straight at you?
Yeah, I guess.
And would you get targeted?
Yeah, I like that's going to happen. I'd be running at me.
You're in the heart of the field.
Yeah, I'd be running at me too, instead of some other bigger guys there as well, which that makes sense. And like the modern game too. A lot of my job is like you talk about in UFC is about the underhooks, and we're doing a lot of practice on that now. And for me, trying to lock up into the ball to control the offload and wait for my teammates to sort of get around me and slowly play the ball up. That's for me. I can't go in there full tilt and try and bash everyone that runs. Otherwise, I'll blow myself out or get hurt. So there's a bit of a technique to it, and you get it wrong sometimes. And more practice you do, you try and get it right the next time.
How have you taken massive hits?
Yeah, I got KO'd bad last year from Dylan Napa. Actually, he got me pretty flush on the chin. He got about 5 weeks back end of last year.
Oh, what did he do?
Was it head eye?
Yeah. He put his head down and he just put me right on the chin. So that was
he ran and put his head down.
I had the ball and went to short of shoulder, but had his head down. And his top of his head hit my mouth, and it caused a bit of controversy there because that was the second time that he'd done that to a player that year. So I think he ended up 4 or 5 weeks. His first game back since that was the grand final. That was probably the knockout last year was probably my worst one I've had.
And have you been knocked out other times?
One other time before that. Just got, like I said, I got my head wrong in a position. I just got the hit on the side of my head. It wasn't as bad. I sort of come to a bit, but just a flash of the hip on the side of my head, and I just sort of went out. So Overall, pretty good. 2 of those moments out of my whole career. It's not just scary for me, but mum and dad and my wife watching.
How much of what's your life like outside of football? Like, do you drink alcohol or do you?
Yeah, I probably nowhere near as much as I used to. Like nowadays, it's a bit more relaxed now. I find training too hard and games too hard in the position I'm in. I'm, looking forward to relaxing and just going out for dinner with my wife or friends now compared to probably going out as a guy when you're younger, which is normal. And different sort of ideas that I like to do on weekends now. It's certainly changed over probably the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay, and you growing up, you grew up in Dalby, you say?
Yeah, Dalby, so only a small country town, 3 hours west of here. So there's plenty to do out there, as you said. There's not much to do in Queenstown.
What did you do growing up?
I like cricket, golf in the summer, and rugby league in the winter. It's just all sport all year round. Like you said, there's not a real lot to do out there, and my family aren't, pig chasers or anything like that. So we like to keep sport and keep busy and do different things like that.
How'd you get a cricket comp together with only 6 people?
Yeah, well, that's right. We just do 3-a-side and it's tipsy, so everyone gets a go. So, but it was good times. I had a good group of mates, and like I said, you made the most of what you had, and like anyone in a small country town does that. I wouldn't change anything.
Huge respect for people who have played cricket, because that's hard. A lot of it's just standing there.
Yeah, just the concentration, I think, to be out there a long
period. Trying not to zone out.
Well, I guess that's why T20 is so big now. They're only out there for 3 hours and probably making more money than playing test matches. So you're not right into it?
Oh, mate, my patience and concentration levels, very small.
Yeah.
So look at what I do for a living.
Yeah, well,
are you a good golfer?
Nah, not really. But I like going. So.
How long did you play golf for?
Today or
no your life,
ever since I was a kid, I had a golf course up the road from home, so I just walked down. But I like to try and go out once or twice a week with a couple of guys in the team and
so you're a good golfer.
I like going. I don't know about good, but I like going.
Are you the best golfer? Is he the best golfer out of everyone?
No, the big Corey Oates is pretty good. So
he doesn't want me to answer that question.
He looks like a golfer, but Corey.
Yeah, well, he's that big, but his frustration levels in the putter throw.
He's a very angry man.
So
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was, but yeah, he's a big hitter. But yeah, just something to get away from footy, and it takes your mind off it. And yeah, you can't be too aggressive with a golf ball, otherwise it gets pretty frustrating after a while.
Gerald, we were going to have you on. He didn't want you on. Andrew didn't want you on.
I know he doesn't, because he doesn't want me to talk shit about him. That's why.
No, he said he wants a spotlight for himself. He wants all 13 of our viewers to only look at him.
He actually suggested wearing both headsets.
Yeah, you'd fit him on those ears as well, don't worry.
These ears are going all right considering how much knocks they've had.
Yeah, they are actually. They're not cauliflower ears yet, so you're going all right, kid.
Is that a big thing? Because getting bad hips to the ears or...
Well, I didn't tackle as much as Macca, but I could imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just had some sore ears, but I've nothing. A couple of the boys have only had a few games and ended up with the cauliflower.
The union guys have it bad.
Yeah,
That's from the
scrums.
The scrums, the mauls and stuff like that, aren't they?
Yours aren't too bad, but...
mine are pretty still.
Yeah,
Touch wood.
Yeah, so you've done all right out of that, to be honest.
Oh, mate.
No, but it's mainly if you come to grappling classes and that, you'll get them.
Oh, right.
You need to train to get going.
You need to go to wrestling and jiu-jitsu classes to get them.
Yeah, you talk about our training. Is there any sort of training that you particularly do not like going to, or is it you like all forms of it, or?
So
obviously he likes some of it, but there'll be some parts of your sport that you just think, geez, I wish I wasn't.
The thing is with me, I enjoy training. I've had a life in sport as well.
Yeah.
I was always kept busy doing karate, playing league on the weekend, and just doing things like that. But I guess the driving factor was me is that I loved competition. I loved fighting. I loved trying to beat that guy.
Yeah.
And everything else was just something I had to do to get to there.
Yeah.
And it's just that's something I had to come to grips with. It's just it's not just something you have to do to get there. You have to enjoy all of it, because the fight's this much, and everything else is the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And if you're only enjoying fractions of your life, then...
So when you were into a fight or going up into the sport of the UFC, did you think you're sort of behind the eight ball a little bit because of all the the wrestling through high school that kids in America did. Did you ever sort of feel like you're a bit behind in that aspect? Because in Australia, it's not as
it's not
demanding, I suppose.
I guess like the biggest thing for me was that that's why I like MMA so much, and you'll see it a lot. Like you can make up areas with other skill sets.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not particularly good at one thing, you make up for it somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's like your wrestling's only good if I let you get close to me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And then there are guys that are so good that you can't stop them.
No, yeah. So you felt you needed to work on other things to obviously counter for that, or
No, well the thing is, once I met Fab and my coaching staff, Alex Prates and Justin Lang and Justin Fitzgerald and everyone around me, we just started plodding away, just started training, just started doing everything, started wrestling, started grappling, started boxing, and just everything. Like I just started ticking boxes.
Yeah.
And then like when you get in there, it's like when you guys play your game, play on the weekends. It's just no one can tell you in the moment. Oh, you got to do this, this, and this. No,
just takes over.
you're left to play.
Yeah.
Like let the guy play. Then that's like me with fighting. It's like, well, we tick all the boxes, and then whatever happens on the night's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like work's done.
Are you an avid watcher of the other fights, or you tend to stay away from it, or?
I do watch fights. Not religiously like a lot of other people, like some other people, some other fighters who they watch fights non-stop every day, all day. And I can't imagine that.
Like, it's like footy. Like I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to watch footy over and over. Like every game on the weekend. There's probably games that you enjoy watching because you've got an interest in a player. Like obviously mates that play. Hey, Chainsaw probably.
Do you watch? Do you?
Sometimes. Oh, he's an idiot. Hey, we might as well just get him off. See you, mate. No, but it's. I couldn't imagine watching every single fight like I would be watching every single game every week.
I assume you guys watch tape for your games, for the games like upcoming.
Yeah.
Like I assume you've watched tape on the Storm now.
Yeah, well,
and
just like every team now. You prepare
last matches and
yeah.
things like that. How do you guys feel when you're watching tape? Because like when I'm watching. Like personally, when I'm watching tape on my opponent, I get a bit anxious. Like I get nervous. I start to imagine the day, the night, and I start to get like the energy tingles.
It's probably a bit different from my position to Andrew's position because obviously he's got to tackle a lot of bigger boys. Do they come down the middle a lot? Probably Melbourne do. They like to go down the middle a lot, but I suppose my position is I've just got to. I do video on my winger and how he does it, all the halves, when he kicks and when he doesn't kick. So it's very, very different. I've never played in the hooker role before.
Yeah, I guess it gives you a bit of indication of what they're going to do. But like you said, when you're just thrown in out there, sometimes it's just all happens so quick. So you go back to repetition of what you've done before, and it sort of just happens so quickly that you sort of forget what was happening. But there's certain points in the game that you realise what a team does, but sometimes that just gets thrown out the window and you need to go back with what you've been learning or practicing last
sometimes they won't even. You'll do video and then they'll come with a completely different game plan and then you're pretty rattled. It'd probably be like you as well. You know, you've gone to and watched them.
Happened with Romero. Orthodox.
Well, exactly. You come in and you go, okay, this is how we're going to fight and this is how we're going to do it. How does that rattle you? Do you get rattled from that?
I know some people do. It does, and you can see it in the fight. You can see that this guy's whatever this guy's good at is not working, and he starts to crumble, and the other guy starts to put it on him. With me, like, and my team, like, we've always had a pretty flexible game plan. Like, we work subtleties of my opponent's game plans, and we play to certain strengths of mine. So, I'll move a certain way or a certain direction away from like the lead hand or something like that. But generally, how the fight takes place is left to me. Like it just does what it does. But with Romero too, that second fight with him, he came out completely different to anyone I've fought before, and our previous fight like 6 months earlier. So that was. Like he changed his whole stance, his whole style. Didn't wrestle.
That's scary. Yeah, that's like a little bit.
But it'd be like you come out to play, and it wasn't even necessarily beneficial. It just threw us off.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it was better for him.
Yeah.
But it'd be like you come out and they put you in hooker and you in the wing, and Matt Lodge in the centre.
Oh, I tell you what, we'd go very good in the middle still. We'd score no tries on the wings.
I don't know your cardio is. I've seen
No,
you run, you got
no, you're
cardio.
right. No, you're right. I wouldn't be able to play 80, but I tell you what, you put him in a hole, he's not running 20 metres. He's not
Just kick
making
it to me then.
Were you weren't very fast?
No.
weren't, still isn't.
So I give a lot of aspirations to a lot of kids out there. You don't have to be fast to be a rugby league player.
Where Macca went
That's it. That's it.
it's
You
true.
work
No,
his, like Rob said, you work your skills.
Okay,
and
I
I've
want
got
a
other skills there.
genuine question. Who would win in a 100-metre race now today?
oh, now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got
Right,
it
he's
now.
probably
You
got
got
me.
it.
He's probably got me. But actually, give me a few beers and I might be able to. I might push that further,
Yeah.
that extra further.
When you need it.
Yeah.
Have you had your? I'm curious because they're obviously Dummy Up's got to fucking run all over the place. Have you had your steps measured before?
Steps,
like how far you run?
Ks,
in a
they do
game?
Ks, yeah.
Ks, I think it's around 7 normally.
Ks,
Yeah,
it is.
it depends, but it's just that that contact off the ground, back up, a lot of the thing. But around I think 7K marks
That's a
probably.
lot of running on the field that just
Yeah.
goes like.
Well, yeah, like he said, like Macca said, you've
back.
got to. I couldn't imagine doing it because he's got to tackle, then he's got to get up off the ground, get back to his line, and then he's got to make. He's basically making line speed every time for whoever's there. So, I wouldn't be able to do it.
It's just part of the job, I guess. That's a strength there rather than being able to jump or do something like some other guys.
Is it mentally tiring? Because you've got to be switched on. I imagine like the whole game.
Yeah, I guess when I was probably early 20s, I'd have a good game, then 2 or 3 bad games, or the inconsistent. But being a bit older, you learn about routine and how to get through games without being a bit smarter and not trying to get involved through everything and running around with your head cut off. You sort of can plan it a bit better rather than just trying to get in everything and try and be a bit smarter. So
Trying to be part of everything.
yeah. You blow yourself out too hard that way. So
He's gotten a lot smarter. He's gotten a lot smarter.
Takes a few knocks to get that right, I think.
So you guys have known each other for a long time.
Yeah, we have actually. We've
Yeah.
known since, unfortunately,
2008. Yeah, about
2000.
11 years.
Yeah,
That
so 11 years.
But you played against each other when you were kids.
Well, only
Once,
once.
yeah.
Yeah, Macca's
Did you
younger
play
than
that
me.
game?
Yeah, I played that one game. We played that one game against him. Obviously, he doesn't remember me. He had the shittest haircut too.
Was he a good player back
Yeah,
then?
well, he's been at he's been at the Broncos for a long time now. He was obviously scouted when you were 15, 14.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah, so he's been here for a while. He's been here way longer than I have.
So when you played him, were you playing SG ball?
No, this was just like
It's like that.
it's like that's
Queensland.
Colts, Colts up here. But Macca only played really a couple of games of that because he was obviously in the first grade squad after that, and he was a very quick developer, I suppose, in in the space of the professionalism. Like they had him in for a while. They obviously knew that he was going to be a very good footy player to come through the years and probably be the next hooker at the Broncos. So he'd been around for a while.
But you were 5'8".
Yeah, it was
Okay.
5'8",
He was,
like you
yeah.
said, just didn't work out, and they had a bloke called Darren Lockyer playing 5'8". So I
Oh,
don't
that
think-
guy.
I don't think that would have happened anytime soon. So it was a blessing in disguise, and it just happened that year. But like Drell said, different blokes come through with different skill sets, and I think Drell was like you said a little bit later, but he came on the scene pretty quickly and did some great things, and just shows a lot of kids out there. It just doesn't happen straight away for some guys, or whatever it is. If you keep at it, opportunities come up.
We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun, like I was talking about before with Lodgy. Like we enjoyed ourselves when we played under 20s. Even when we were coming through grade together, we had Benny Hunt with us. We had Josh Maguire. We had I think it was like 11 of our under 20s played first grade the year after. So we
That's
we had some
ridiculously
we had
rare.
some talented
That's very, very
kids. Yeah. Well, it wouldn't happen these days. It's just. It just would not happen these days.
Says a lot for you guys that made the cut.
Yeah. So
You know what I mean?
we got to hang around a little bit longer, and I don't know. We just, like I said before, we just really had fun, man. We were just enjoying our footy, and then obviously when you get to first grade, that fame and stuff, it really takes off really quickly. And we suppose you try to enjoy yourself a little bit more, but you've got to dull it down a lot, as in the sense of go and have a drink too much. And I suppose when we came through too, Mac, that was sort of still the scene. It was a little bit old school still when we were coming through to the grade of going out and having a beer with the boys after a game, or going the next day and drinking a lot. That was a scene where these days just you can't do it. You can't do it these days. The athletes are just too good at their job. the game's so fast, powerful, strong. You can't go drinking every weekend and being able to turn up. I'd probably be right, wouldn't I?
Yeah, well, boys might. I just don't know about it, so I just don't.
Just he's a senior leader now, so he turns a blind eye, I think, to it.
I have a question. You were here when he got injured?
Yeah, I didn't go over. I knew something was bad, so I just thought it when it first happened on the field. Yeah.
Okay, so throughout, you were on the field when it happened.
Yeah.
But you knew something bad had happened.
Mm.
Do you, in those moments, being that you're obviously you're all teammates, but being someone that you've known for a long time, is there a greater sense of empathy?
I guess so. But at the time,
Or are you just in the fog of war?
Yeah, no, I knew he got hurt, but I didn't know the extent, obviously, to what it was. People get injured all the time. I thought it might have just been, whatever it could have been, and he'd be okay. I didn't think it was sort of going to be, the confirmed fracture that it was. And, yeah, very tough time. And but, yeah, definitely unknown about how drastic of injury it was. And not being able to, we were in Perth then, so I was a fair way back from home. And he spent, I think, 3 or 4 nights there.
Yeah, another 2 nights there, yeah. 3 days, 2 nights.
They let you fly with the whole thing?
Yeah, they let me. They shouldn't have, yeah. Like I came back on a plane when I shouldn't have. I probably should have stayed in hospital there. There's a bit of controversy over it, but probably should have stayed over there and brought a doctor over and had me assessed there because I had an open wound. But look, there's nothing we can do about it now.
Yeah, no, I've seen the replay of it, and I'm probably pretty glad I didn't sort of go. And I thought I would have been out of the game a little bit with that, just trying to think of what did happen and trying to get on with the next job. But
there's a funny moment in the whole thing, though. Like our trainer,
it's better be funny, Gerald.
It is funny.
Funny. It sounds like it's going to be horrible.
No, funny for me because I seen it happen. So in this whole chaos that was, compound fracture of my ankle, I knew that Alan Langer hated blood, and we all knew that he fainted when he seen blood, right? So I was there laying, and I'm obviously screaming in a lot of pain, and I sort of go to Justin Hodges, who's standing over me. He goes, don't look at it, trying to push me. I was like, no, I have to look at it. I don't know why.
He's telling you not to look at it.
Yeah, but I just, for some reason, I was just like, I have to look at it. I got to look at it.
If someone says don't look,
you're probably like, yeah. But we had yellow socks on at the time, and
was it coming out the sock?
Yeah, it wasn't coming out the sock, but you could see the bone, like it was pushing on the sock.
Oh, fuck me.
And then my whole sock turned red, right? Because obviously it was an open wound, and on all this chaos that was what was happening, I look up and Alan Langer's running down very quickly to get to me, and he was probably going to be one of the first trainers there. But he's obviously seen that it's red, and I've never seen someone do the biggest U-turn ever and just go straight back to the bench. And he just sat on the bench and just was like this. And that was in the whole chaos of what it was. I found that funny at the time. It probably wasn't funny to other people, obviously, but I found that funny at the time because I was like, oh, I wish he came over because he might have made me laugh if he did faint. Would have made everything a little bit better, but that was in that moment. That was pretty.
How bad was the pain? Sorry, Rob.
No, it wasn't right at the time because obviously
you
adrenaline.
went straight to shock.
My adrenaline. It was a shock and adrenaline. Like was just like I just was like, oh, I didn't know what was going on, but I reckon 20 minutes. They put a thing on, then pump it up and pushes your leg back together just to hold it until you get to the hospital. And then they gave me morphine and it didn't work. Like the green whistle didn't work. I was so much pain. And they got there and they gave me this stuff called pure oxycodone. And man, I was in another world. I was on another planet, and I was like, oh. And apparently, I hope my missus never watches this, but I was hitting on all the nurses that were there, trying to ask them for their numbers, and I couldn't remember that. But Dane Gago was there telling me that I was doing that. So
we just got one dislike on the video now. One dislike.
The wife's like,
yeah, 100%.
Fucking. So you saw that? And
saw it
and then the I suppose the subsequent years thereafter, what was that like?
Yeah, well, I think you just had in the back of your head that he was always going to come back and play. You just didn't think, no, that was pretty much it for Dural. And, you go through injuries yourself and you sort of get a bit down on yourself, but until you sort of know what someone else has sort of gone through or see someone else completely out of the game, you sort of kind of make yourself feel a bit selfish at times, so getting down on yourself when someone has to go through that. And spend the amount of time he did in hospital and to miss out on a game that he loves, it puts a bit of, realistic back in your mind about what's important in life. And, he certainly showed that, but definitely a character around the club, and I think that's why Whitey's got him on here, but he's nearly been fired 3 or 4 times. Sure,
I've not. He's a liar.
He hates Mondays. He hates Mondays. I don't know why. I don't know what the reason.
I like going out on Sundays.
Mondays are right.
No, Mondays for everyone are terrible. You don't like coming on Mondays, you liar.
Yeah, so it was a good change, but I think for now, lucky he did have probably the support he did have around him, and going into this job, I think it was a lot better than what it could have been.
I've got to put up with people like him though. Like I work in the media now, like a content producer here, and to try and get him to do anything because he is a mate, it's just it does your head in.
What do you have to do?
So obviously I've got.
No, what do you do? Like, so what's content producer?
That's a fair question.
Content producer. So I help.
They
create-
asked me to ask this.
Yeah, I don't know what he does.
The CEO asked me to ask
hanging
you.
around for
Mate,
years,
he's
I
been
don't know.
paying me for years, so I don't know. He's obviously got to know.
Okay, it's a department no one has
Yeah.
any idea exists.
That's a good thing though, because I can't ruin it. If they don't know what I'm doing, then I can't really.
He
fuck
can't
up, really.
technically get fired. Though,
Yeah.
if he's not hired here.
No, well, I'm just a content producer. So now I've created our podcast that we have here at the Broncos. We've wanted to do one for a long time, so I've been the big advocate for that. We do a Broncos Live now, which I've been a part of, which we do on Facebook every week, every round. Macca refuses to come on anything I ask him to do, so it's really hard. It's annoying. He does. I'm taking the piss. He does come on to do everything, but I create most of the stuff and do all the interviews for the players, and it's enjoyable. It's fun. I get to travel sometimes, so away trips are fun for me, not for the boys because I'm annoying. But
So how do you go, Rob? Obviously, now that you've had some pretty big fights, so you're going up on stage, and obviously trash talking is a pretty big thing in the UFC now. Are you
buy into that?
Yeah, or just try and just be obviously yourself. Do you see a lot of guys that bravado outside when the camera's there, but you see them backstage and think, gee, you're turning that on
Most
today?
of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, most of them are just trying to sell a fight, trying to be the next McGregor, trying to make a name for themselves. And
so it's quite the contrast on what you see and what you get
but then there are some like genuine dickheads.
ones,
Yeah.
Like where you're like, no, you're shit outside too. But
Can't name names.
He's going to leave that one
I
there.
don't like picking fights because then I have to commit myself to the fight.
Very true.
The
very
thing
true.
is, for him, if he talks about someone, he's giving them he's the champion.
Yeah.
So
true.
he's giving them the shot. You know
Yeah,
what
I
mean?
understand. Yeah, I know.
And coming up, he made his name the way not many people did, and he just fought everyone.
Yeah.
And the people the only time he called anyone out was Romero. He called Romero out for the second fight, eh? There was a second
fight.
Yeah, for the second
Yes.
fight, you called Romero out.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Bisping,
yeah.
Bisping had the title. If you got the title, everyone's going to call you out.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
common. Yeah.
So he called Bisping out, and Bisping fought GSP, and then they were trying to make the GSP fight happen. It didn't work, and then after he got the belt, he got GSP relinquished the belt. Rob got it, and then Rob called out Romero after Romero beat Rockhold. And all the people that talk shit, all the people that are trash talkers, when Romero's name comes up, everyone's like, me. You know?
So are you finding that easier now that you've had a bit more experience with all that sort of stuff, or is it just something you deal with every fight? You mean like like hype and obviously trash talking and?
To be honest, I hate that side of it.
Yeah, well, it's a big thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you guys would be the same. Like, would you prefer to do what you do now, like the way it is now, or if you could just rock up to like a weekend park and no one was there and you just play?
Yeah.
And like that would be, I would love to just.
No, but you're talking about the media and the bullshit versus the crowd, because I get a feeling that I'm not going to mention names, but say Joe Rao. You love the crowd.
100%.
Yeah.
I did. I honestly did. I know, and I didn't at the start, but I became that sort of player that I just love to do shit, and I used to love the crowd. I don't know why. I became a bit, I wouldn't say arrogant, but I don't know what the word would be. I was confident. I was very confident in the way that I played footy, and I just loved working the crowd. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I've never been one to like having huge crowds or anything like. I don't know. I like performing in front of people. Like, I like that. I like fighting in front of people because I like it's
the atmospheres. Is it that?
It's like I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like I'm just giving everything I have in there, willing to die at that point for your entertainment.
Yeah, that's so true.
And like
That's so true.
and
Gladiators in a way.
yeah, and like and that kind of feeling.
Fucking people, and you're a fucking coward, Rob.
Yeah.
No, that gives me goosebumps when you said that. That was hectic.
Yeah, see, that'd be non-stop,
Stop.
regardless if you win
No
or
matter
lose,
what,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, I love that moment, but all the other bullshit around it is just.
do you reckon it's getting worse?
Oh yeah. Oh, yes and no. Like, it is to a point, but then like you're seeing dudes that are trying to copy people,
Yeah,
and put on masks,
yeah.
and people aren't buying into the bullshit. Like they can see that you're just full of shit.
Yeah.
You know, and like so it's. I don't think it's any more prevalent than it was back when.
Yeah.
It's just more people are trying to do it.
The
And
problem
social
is,
media too.
I
Yeah.
was about to say, social
Social
media
media.
is fucking horrendous.
Well,
for
like, you just see like fighters just call out other fighters on that now. You know what I mean? Like they just
It's not even.
trash talk.
It doesn't have to go to a media conference and
Nah.
do that. You can just do that at home.
And it's
Yeah, on the
you,
couch, like,
yeah, you can just be like, I do not like you. I'm going to bash your head in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swear word.
Yes.
Hashtag
Yeah.
fight me.
Yeah.
Hashtag Dana White.
it's like
Got to
to
get
me,
Dana.
it's almost like that's played out. Like to me, my opinion. But who am I? I'm no one, you know. But I just look at it and just think,
Hey, we love you, man.
thanks, mate. Thanks a lot, guys. I just think like it's done. Like it's not something new. It's not like some new shit that someone's doing. It's
Yeah.
just like more of the same.
Beefed up.
Yeah.
Oh man, you know, there's a point where it's just like it gets to a point. It's sad, man. I find it sad. I find it like the fight world's probably worse. Like say for example, like everything you do. Like if you do a podcast, your podcast shit.
Yeah.
But that they'll do it. Your podcast shit. Oh, you're not gonna make Origin because you're fucking shit.
Just
and
the
you're-
judgments. And, yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's your fucking peers. It'd be
Yeah.
like you saying tweeting about Cameron Smith. I'm glad you're gone. You're shit. You're old.
Oh, shit.
Well, he actually did that.
No, but to me, like I look at that and I just think like that's
Yeah.
You're a fucking shit.
You're
person.
weak. You're
Maybe-
weak too.
yeah, I think so. And
Yeah.
if you were the first person to do it, and I'd be like, I don't agree with you, but I think like, you know, maybe you needed to get eyes on you. You felt angry at the world, whatever. I still think you're disrespectful, but whatever. But now it's just like, I just think like what like exactly what you said. Like what I said it before. Like it's just kind of sad. Like you're doing a podcast, you're shit. Oh,
Yeah.
you fucking look at you.
People just insecure, mate. They're about
Yeah.
themselves. That's what it is. They're just they're losers, mate.
Toxic.
Yeah.
Is like.
And I hate that. I hate just seeing that. Like it's just perpetuated all the time. Like
Yep.
with the trash talk. A lot of the shit. Like even when they do the press conferences, it's not even witty. It's not even fucking having a laugh. Saying something or even genuinely being aggressive to each other. Which I'd go, okay, I get that. It's just like, oh, you fucking shit. Look at you.
I read a Twitter message yesterday that like I was going through. You know how you have your messages, then you have like your messages that could be from anyone.
Yeah.
I was going through that just for the fun of it, and there was one that was all capitals. I was like, "What is this?" I clicked it. It was just like, "Give the belt back, you piece of shit." I can't believe. And I'm like,
Wow.
I was like, "What? How are you so angry?"
Yeah,
at me?"
what makes you want to write that, and especially in capital
Yeah,
letters?
it's like
Brother or sister.
it's like I went up to your family and hit him.
Yeah,
I was like, "Why are you so mad at me?" I'm
Do
sorry.
you ever just get off socials leading into a fight or anything like
I
that?
didn't go on socials. Period. Like
Yeah.
I don't go through messages. Can't read comments. Like
Yeah.
will not read the comments for this podcast. That's like
Yeah, no, not now. Yeah.
100%.
no, but you have to separate it. Like you have to separate yourself.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
It's so toxic, and people say like the guys that go, "No, I read them and I'm cool," and it's like, nah, because at the back of your head,
You're
it's
thinking,
still
yeah,
there.
yeah, you're
It's
thinking
still
about
there,
that.
and it's infesting because then you're gonna have a shit day, and you're gonna think maybe it is because I'm shit.
Yeah.
Does that affect you at all?
I get to read these messages because obviously these boys don't.
How
So
come?
because we're obviously the boys are in there cutting stuff up, and then they'll put it on, and we want to see how much traction we're getting. Obviously at the Broncos and what we're doing. So I get to read some of the messages, man, and some of the messages are they're personal attacks.
People are just angry.
Some personal
And
attacks.
they smash
man.
your families as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
My
what-
kid had nothing to do with it.
The
Well,
kid's
what-
not in there fighting. Yeah.
I mean, I can
Tough.
understand if someone's spraying maca about his
Yeah.
eyebrows, like, because they are thick. That's just the way it is. That's genuinely the truth.
Are they?
I've seen some.
Is that natural?
These?
Yeah.
No, they've had a bit of work done. They got to get maintained, mate. You can't,
Can't let
it's
the
just gotta
beast
work
out,
with
yeah.
Don't try to control it, mate.
No, well,
Just
look,
let it
I'm not
be.
just going to go right across there.
Why leash it?
Yeah.
Why leash it?
You're like that basketball player that's got that big one monobrow, doesn't he? What's the big basketball
Oh,
player?
Anthony Davis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
do that. So
Yeah, just run with it. You could be the only person with a
that'll
what is
be
it?
good.
Unibrow.
you talk about comments on socials, that'd be one of them.
Yeah.
Do people message you personally?
Oh, I would have had some, before,
But you do get them?
yeah.
Like
I
what?
think everyone gets them. Just whatever. I think mostly during the origin period, you guys up down south are pretty brutal. So
Not me.
No, but the people are. But it's
that's just part of
it's
it.
back and forth as well.
Yeah,
Like
so that's all.
it's obviously that and that at that stage, man. It's New South Wales hates Queensland.
Yeah.
Queensland hates New South
And
Wales.
the
That's
better
just
you
the way
start
it is.
playing, the more people
Hate
try
you,
and
yeah.
bring you down.
Yeah.
The better you're doing, the more you're succeeding. They
Yeah.
just want to knock
And
you
even when
down.
you are down though, you get kicked while you're down.
They
as
try
well.
to kick you while you're down.
100%. Yeah.
That's like when I had to pull out of my fight.
Yeah.
It's like
You're already filthy.
I'm still in hospital.
Yeah, yeah. You're already upset.
I just pulled it out for the sake of pulling
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, I'm still in hospital.
I
Leave me the
chose
fuck
to,
alone.
yeah.
Like, gee whiz. And you know what? I have to ask all the people that thought I was faking it.
Yeah.
It's like, why the hell would I do it after the weigh-in?
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
The weight cut's fucking hard, man.
Yeah, how do you
yeah.
combat that? How do you weight cut normally?
What do you mean?
Like for you going into a fight, do you have to lose much weight for a fight, or not
no-
necessarily? You're
Nothing
pretty
crazy. No,
Yeah.
like I still have about 10 kilos during the prep,
Yeah.
but that's just maintained through like rigorous dieting, and then just like about 10 days out, you start to like manipulate your waters.
Yeah.
Like, you know how certain foods hold water more
Yeah,
than
yeah.
others. Like, you start to do all that. Start to eat foods that digest really quickly. Let me tell you, foods that digest quickly, not so nice.
No.
That's
So
all your
that's-
boring foods like fish,
Yeah.
sweet potato.
Yeah.
broccoli.
I honestly applaud you for how you do
Yeah.
that, man. Like that's something that I could never do ever. Like that's
No, but your
crazy.
mindset changes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If you had to do that if you
pay
had
rent.
to
Yeah,
no,
true.
but if you had to
Yeah,
make
true,
weight
no.
to make the Kangaroos team,
Yeah.
and there was another guy that was like, yeah, I'm not sure, and everything else was equal.
Yeah, true.
You'd be like, yep,
Yeah.
fucking I'll.
I suppose I've just heard a lot. You hear a lot of
Well, I
how
guess for you,
people
you don't have to
weight
weight cut as much
cut,
as what
yeah.
you see other fighters. I guess they go the drastic side, don't
No,
they? Like-
you know what? He does cut a lot of weight, but it's done better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like
It just doesn't see like you see him compared to a lot of other fighters. They look drained. They
Yeah.
look like they
Look,
don't
I
physically.
watched
look.
that Conor McGregor. What is it called? The documentary of and how he cut that weight before he had that. I can't remember who the fight was against, but
Not
man,
Aldo.
Aldo, he looked sick. He looked seriously sick, man. And I was like, wow,
A lot of
I couldn't know how they do
a lot
that.
of guys,
yeah.
like it really is a science, like trying to get your weight down.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like with our team, like Fab, like we've written out a program and we've made it better every time, so that now it's like it's not
just
hard.
know.
You just
Yeah.
you just follow exactly what's in the list. You'll be on
Mm.
weight, and that's that.
I guess with
but
the way
it's
you're
not-
training too, like the way you're training, like it's easy to do 3 or 4 kilos here at training. You know what you guys are doing per day. You know, like
No,
unless
but you're
going-
hydrated when you're losing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. I
When you're
understand.
dehydrated,
yeah.
it's fucked.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say, it's not the dehydration. Like, so say for example, if you had to lose 5 kilos today, you could.
Cool.
But then
Tell me how, please. I'm ready.
just put down the fork. but if you had to do that, that's fine. The problem is coming back tomorrow and performing.
Yeah.
Because you weigh in today, you got to perform tomorrow. So the rehydration is bigger than the weight cut.
So after a weigh, and so like you can't just obviously just start drinking a heap of water. You got to slowly.
No,
bring
it's
it
got
back
like a
in.
rehydration program.
you have to
Oh,
write it
yeah.
all out. Like,
Goes
So
for
whatever-
about
one
goes for
every-
about 12 hours.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I drink certain amount of fluid, like measured amounts of fluid with measured amounts of like hydrolyte,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
electrolytes and stuff, like every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, and then all my meals are measured out and they're set in intervals and stuff.
Yeah, right.
It's hard.
He drinks stuff like this big.
Yeah.
And imagine being so thirsty.
You just want to
So thirsty.
just get another one.
And
yeah.
that's the only thing you're allowed for 1 hour.
Yeah.
And then like you go and it's
you're making
gone
me
and you're like
so for when you do all that for a night of a fight, like what's, for us, we're getting up a bit later, a bit of a breakfast team walk, a sleep in the afternoon, swim for certain guys. Like leading up to a fight, your fight might be later at night. How do you sort of plan?
I found
your
that
fight?
hard because you guys play at different times too, eh?
Yeah, well, a lot of our...
the Broncos, we're lucky. We're Friday nights mostly.
Yeah, but it's not till 8 o'clock's kickoff, so that you got to...
So you don't do any you don't have any day games?
Not a lot of the time. We do have a couple.
Our clubs, most of our TV rights, we get most of our biggest following on Friday, Thursday night. So that's when they'll schedule that. So we're lucky as in the sense of the routine doesn't change too much. But when it does... Well, I don't know, from an outsider, if we're playing on a Sunday and I can see the boys we're getting pumped, you can just tell that having that different rate, that schedule has really, really ruined us and how we've prepared for that.
Yeah, it wasn't until last fight that I realised how much that really stuffed me up because we've always tried to cater to it.
Yeah.
And so like if I'm fighting at like 9 o'clock at night, I'll be training, like I'll be trying to hit my sessions at 9 o'clock at night. I'll be trying to sleep and eat them. So, but
that's crazy. Like we didn't train it. Like, that's weird.
I think a couple of teams started to do that, but it's just too hard. Late for us to do that late.
Well, the thing is,
for boxing,
the thing is, like
UFC,
for the last fight, we were trying to train at about 9, 10 o'clock because where we were fighting in Chicago with the pay-per-view airtime, it's like completely different. So I didn't fight until about 12, 12:30, and that I was so tired before. Like I was just
nothing wakes you up like fighting Romero. But
Very true.
No, like it's just like
get up for work.
Just before walking out, I was like just tired. Like I was like
fatigue.
It was hard to G up because it was just late. It was just a late night. And
so what do you like during the day? Do you just
how do you routine? Like what do you do? Do you like we go for team walks, as in the sense we'll go stretch our legs, and then once that finishes and once the stretch just finishes, it's basically you're on your own till the game, basically.
Yeah, I'm more or less the exact same. It's like I wake up in the morning, I have something to eat, I move around a little bit, pretty much stretching the whole day. But more or less, like after, as long as I move around to keep the blood going, and it's up to me. Like I'll lay down, I'll read a book, I'll just chill out. Try to sleep if it's late.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
Try and like lying down. Like if you lie down, like your heart rate drops.
Yeah.
So we try and get him to lie down as well. Get your heart rates to keep. Because we were talking with Paul Devlin and that earlier. You don't want anything to stimulate your like your flight or fight system.
Okay.
You don't want anything to be stimulated. So you tire out your neural system. You want, because 10 days before as well, we pull back on everything. So the neural system is not fatigued.
Yep.
So you've rested completely. Everything's good. You don't want to be doing stuff that mentally stimulates you too much leading into the fight. And then
so that's like even like playing games.
Video games are bad.
Man, that's crazy you say that because
we got to stop slamming inside. There's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you a big gamer, are you?
A massive.
Me too. What do you play?
And earlier on,
I love this. I could talk about this
earlier on with the coaches. When the coaches were on, all three of them were just like, game's bad, toxic. Let's stop. And I was like, I'm just sitting here like, it's not that bad. Like, just don't do it before bed. Play it all day. Like,
Are you like on Fortnite? You got the headpiece in and everything.
Oh, I'm way worse than that, man.
Really? You got the chair and everything.
I like it a lot more. I like this.
Yeah, I just got to. I'm very like I got to up on that. Like that's what I love to do. Like I see my best mates. I don't see in real life for like.
Well, it's healthy.
Yeah. So it's
super healthy.
Boom. So getting on the mic, talking to them, and
no.
That's his best mate. You never met him.
I don't see him for like 8 months at a time sometimes. Like, but I speak to him every day.
His best mates.
But like I learned when I was like in the last 4, 5, 6 years that there is a time and a place. You can't try to unwind.
Yeah.
Like after the session, like if you're playing video games up until late, because I'll go to bed and then my mind is firing away. Like I had just had a tactical fight.
Yeah.
And then like between sessions, if I'm playing games and I'm sitting upright like this and my mind's firing, by the time I hit the next session, I'm tired.
Yeah,
but it's not
mentally
just
drained,
that. It's also what we were saying before, like with Paul and Anthony. It's like you can't like even it affects your digestion, affects stuff because when you're under flight or fight, when your adrenaline's pumping, you don't digest food properly because your body's like the way that we're made. Your body doesn't differentiate whether you're being attacked by a wolf or you're playing a video game or you're just under huge amounts of stress. So when you do that, like your food doesn't digest properly, you don't think properly, you're not resting properly, and you do that over and over and over and over again, and it has effects.
Yeah. I think Devs and Siebes were saying there might have been a bit of an issue with Port Adelaide last year with Fortnite, with guys staying up
Really
all
late.
through the whole night, going all-nighters.
The whole team.
Like some main guys in their team, and then going all-nighters and doing Fortnite into training, and they apparently started to plateau back into the year in the finals, and it became a big issue for them.
That's
Fuck, awesome.
Not that I sit here and bad gamers or anything like that, but yeah.
I still think some of our boys, you know, not here, but other teams.
the
So
content
they go
creators.
away. They go, no, they go away and they'll play games, you know, the day of the game, and I don't think that's, you know, when I used to love playing PlayStation the night before I played a game, but then once I would finish that, I wouldn't play it all day. I wouldn't the game day.
I'm very much like fight day.
Yeah.
That's the one day that all I'm supposed to do is lay down
Yep.
and think about the fight.
Yeah.
Or
not even if you don't think about it, even you just chill out. But
Yeah.
that's the only day where I'm not allowed. Like that's fight day. That's the day. My one job is to fight later on.
Yep.
So everything is just. I don't use any energy that I can. Like nothing.
Yeah.
Like I do nothing. Less than nothing. I start to go negative.
Oh wow.
And so for you, do you feel a higher intensity for both of you because you both played Origin versus club? Like what's the difference in intensity?
I think just every play. I think that just showed I got a couple of things wrong last year, and that was the game. Everyone makes mistakes in those big arenas, and you can go through a heap of guys, and it's just split moments that make a difference of a game, and I think that's the difference. Between NRL and Origin is those small moments create big sort of moments, or the series done, and compare that to NRL where you can sort of maybe get that back
you can probably do something small in the NRL arena and get away with it, but if you're like Andrew said, once you do something at that stage, and how it's the pinnacle of our game, Origin is, I think, and once you're doing something wrong in that game, that could mean that momentum swings so quickly, and you could, it's a try, you're under the pump for 20 minutes of the game, and it drains you so much. So, yeah, Origin's way different to playing club football, definitely.
I have a question. When you're defending on your line, the repeat sets, like the winger drops a ball again and again and again. Right?
Yeah.
When they do that, and you're in the middle.
Yeah.
How tired do you get in there? What's that like?
How tired?
Yeah.
Pretty fatigued. I think any set, even in the NRL, back-to-back sets are so crucial these days. There's probably stats going around about completion of back-to-back on your trial, and always a lot of the time may cause obviously a line break or a try, and that's what teams are looking for. So if you can create back-to-back dropouts, there's a lot of times, a lot of chances are that you're going to cross the try line, and if it doesn't happen, then it generally creates a lot of fatigue in the other team, the back end of the game.
Well, what's it like for you? Because you're one of the guys in the middle.
Sorry, for me, it's hard work because you got to back it up and do it again. And,
No, but do you get super lactic?
You can. And I think it's more of a focus of thinking about what you got to do because they got to score a try quickly. You got to get back and do your job, and if you don't, it's normally 4 points.
There's actually a stat going around at the moment. I'm not sure the exact stat, but in the last couple of years they've done back-to-back, obviously getting repeat sets like Macca said, but if you're not scoring in those 3 plays, in those 3 sets, they said the momentum can swing so much, and I think it's something like in the 80% that if you haven't scored in those 3 sets, that the team will go on and score a try and win the game. It's because of the momentum, you've drained yourself
So
so
if you've got 3
So if you will say we're the Broncos, we're attacking, we've had 3 sets on the line, and then they make a break and they get a quick play of the ball. Momentum can swing that quickly, and they'll go on to score a try and win the game. There's something like in the 80% of the NRL in the last couple of years that have been that stat's been like that, and it's insane because I've always been a person who thought that pressure is building pressure and repeat sets are huge. But if you're not scoring, if you can, you're not just building pressure. If you can score, if you can't score tries, then you're in big trouble. Because we've seen it happen in our trial on the weekend. Actually, we had them under the pump for the first 8 minutes, I think, of the game, and then we don't score a try and they go the length, and then all of a sudden we're 18-0 down in the first half.
Use one, but hey,
yeah, end up winning. Yeah, but you can tell like that momentum swung pretty quickly, didn't it, Mac?
Yeah, like I said, just small moments in a game, that change of momentum or gives you a quick play of the ball. It really sets it up, and if you have defended a fair bit, it gives you a bit of a lift once you have, kept the team off. It gives you a bit of confidence, and if you can go down the field and score a try, that's what I think Drell's trying to say.
Yeah.
Is it just builds you back into the game then.
How big is momentum in a season?
Yeah, I think big, like different teams obviously go through different parts. You'll see a lot of teams start the year really well and then plateau off around origin time and then come good the back end, or teams have been pretty ordinary all year, then have a good run late. Just depends. You try to, I guess you're not going to be right up every week, so it's just a difference of trying to probably nail it, be there around the back end of the year, August, and nail it at the back end of the year. You see the teams that have those close games week in and week out. They're the teams that really struggle towards the end of the season because they've given everything every game. So, whether it's us that is playing, a team that's in the bottom 8, and we're only beating them by a point, but we're going to extra time. That last 10 minutes is always going to catch up to you at the end of the year. Yeah, you're going to start to break down a little bit more. So the more games you can win comfortably, obviously we'd all like to win by 40 every game, but the more games you can win comfortably over the time of the space of the year, and not lose those close games that are tough, you're probably going to go on to put yourself in a really good position to play, in the top 4 and play finals footy. I think in 2015 it showed for our side, for the boys, that we probably won a lot of games there that we probably shouldn't have, that we grinded out right to the end, and it showed that winning those type of games really helped you towards the end of the year, because I believe that if you're finishing in that top 4, and Mac can probably say the same thing, if you're finishing that top 4 slot in the competition, you've got a massive chance of winning the premiership, because it just shows over the history of the rugby league that I don't think there's been a team outside the top 4 that's ever won a grand final. I think it might have been the Broncos, the only side, 5th. I wouldn't be able to tell
you.
Yeah,
so there's only been one side, I think it's been the Broncos, that finished 5th in the competition that have won a grand final.
Have you ever thought about coaching now that you're out?
Yeah, I'd love to one day. That's actually what I'm trying to do now. So I've started. He's not going to be around,
but
so yeah. That's something that I want to do. I don't think I could be a head coach.
Under 11s Minto Cobras, Division 3.
I've actually been lucky enough to do a few. I've coached 2 university sides in the past 4 years, and then I've been with the under 16s, 18th Queensland side in the last couple of years as well, and that's been really enjoyable. I actually was one of the assistant coaches this year for the All Stars game, which was a huge success for me. I'd been trying to get into that platform for a while, and even talking to Siebes, he's been very helpful in what he wants me to do and what I should do to become a coach, and that's just more, and the better you do it at a lower grade, I suppose, the easier it's going to get when you get up to the professional level. So that is my aspiration. That's where I want to go, because I still love the banter. I still love being around the players. But I also know that coaching isn't all about having fun and games. It's about being assertive. It's about making sure that your delivery is great and how you coach a side. And I mean, I'd love to win a premiership here one year at in the coaching role in the football department. Cause
did you win one as a player?
No, that's the only thing I didn't ever get to do, which still doesn't sit right with me. So I'd love to be one day in the football department here at the Broncos. To win a premiership would be outstanding.
What about yourself? Are you looking at coaching?
No, I don't think so. Not at this stage. I don't think it's.
It's not something you'd like to do when you're finished.
No, probably not at this stage. I'd probably go away a little bit from football, or just see how I am when I'm finished, and if I want to still be involved in football, some play aspect. But the aspect of coaching a team or assistant, it doesn't appeal to me just at the moment, but it might later on.
I think with Macca's and my different perspectives, obviously I left the game very early, so I still feel like I've got a lot to give to the game, where he's about to go on and play, 300 plus games at this club. He's probably
That's
had
massive.
he's probably had
so many games.
He's probably had enough of it by the end of it. You know what I mean? He's probably gone, I've had enough. I don't want to be around it for a little bit, and that's why a lot of players do separate themselves with the game. Where I only played 67 games here.
How many games have you played?
230 something.
He's insane. I think he was. He might not like me saying this, but I think he was on track to be the most capped Brisbane Broncos player but he did his knee last year, so he'll have to play until he's at least 35, and I think he said he wants to. We were talking about I wanted to go to Coachella with him. He said we'll have to wait till we finish until he's 35. I said, mate, I can't wait till I'm 35.
What's the most capped player here?
It is Darren Lockyer.
Darren Lockyer, I think 350.
50, yeah.
Fuck, that's so many games.
It's a lot of games, man. It's a lot of games.
The average is like 44 games.
Yeah, 47. 47 is the average in NRL.
And you've played?
67.
Oh, well, you're above average.
Yeah, I'm above average. I'd like to think so. That's what my mum tells me anyway.
And so coaching now.
No, not at this stage, Fab. I'll just probably go away from footy when I'm done.
What are you looking at doing?
I'm not too sure just yet. Changed my mind a fair bit. I think
it's got a new ambition every week.
Yeah, just try and change it
that's
up.
good. That's
I
healthy.
try different things, but I did have a coffee shop with Sam Thaiday a fair few years ago. But once I sort of realised, dealing with staff and other customers and things like that, I'm not too sure if I'd like to do that. I wouldn't mind doing the dog squad at this stage.
What's the dog
squad?
Oh,
police
okay.
force, but you got to do 2 years of police force, so I'll see how that goes first.
You got to be on the beat first.
You got to do all that, all the work first before the dog squad.
I'll give you a chance. He's no chance of arresting me if he sees me.
I don't have
He
to
won't catch
arrest him.
you.
I reckon the dog will get you anyway.
Nah, I'll just put.
You can't run anymore, mate.
Mate, I won't have to run. I'll stand. Hey, fight or flight, mate. I'm ready to go.
Hey, what about you, Rob? What do you want to do when you're done fighting? Do you want to coach or what do you want to do?
I have
This may depress a lot of people. This answer.
Gamer.
don't know, to be honest.
Professional gamer.
I'm doing a lot of things already. Like, what do you mean when I finish? Like when I'm not fighting and like done?
When you retire from fighting.
Or so like my retirement plan. I told you yesterday I want to be a sailor.
A sailor.
And you laughed at
I
me.
would not have picked that.
How does
Sailor.
It's my latest flavour of the month.
Was just relaxing, is it, or just was?
No,
why
I was
sailor?
just-
This guy's fucking full of shit. He can't even fucking swim.
That's why he wants to be a
I can't swim very
sailor.
well.
Because he's got a
Mate,
boat then.
Mate,
A sailor. Geez,
back in the
that's
times, no sailors could swim.
Yeah, that's why they were in the boat.
So what jobs there?
I was just thinking, like, how good would it be to retire on a houseboat and then just go up and down the coast? How good would that
No,
be?
that would
What are
be.
your kids gonna do? Just sit on the boat?
I
with you?
assume they're taking
swimming.
care of themselves.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're old enough by then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like-
Oh.
I don't- like I said, this is my far end
This is the extreme.
retirement. Yeah, this is like
This is like when you're,
So
I'm cooked and I'm looking for my exit strategy.
Sailor.
Yeah. I
Surely
don't know.
you've got something. You'd have something in you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
If it wasn't coaching, for me, I'd want to be, honestly, I know this sounds too full on, I would want to be a DJ, honestly.
No.
I'd want to be a DJ.
I couldn't
Yeah.
be up every
You could
week.
you could be a DJ on Rob's boat.
Bruh, I could, yeah. I mean, build a big yacht, bruv, and we can just do it together. We'll make a lot of money.
You know who's not going to be fucking invited to the boat? There's old fun panda here.
Old negative Nelly over here.
old fun police just here next to me.
Bring the dog squad.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll fucking wreck your whole party.
Yeah, got the boys on this.
Oh, no, I'll be jumping. I can swim by that stage, so I'm out.
No, but you can swim though.
Yeah, I can.
Can you tell
Can
us
you
before?
swim?
I can swim,
I've
mate.
never seen you swim.
Tell us a little bit about you said it growing up because is it your dad's from Vanuatu?
No. So my grandfather's side. My grandfather's side's from Vanuatu. So, just I don't know. Just I've always just been a sort of an islander boy. So, but I'm very in touch with my Aboriginal side of my family. So, yeah, I only went to Vanuatu probably 6 years ago and found out a little bit about myself. We're from Tanner Island, which is where big Mal Meninga's from, which is pretty cool. And when I went over there, actually, this is a funny story. When I went over there, my grandfather's name is Lomas. Macca knows that, and my middle name is Lomas. So when I went over there, I knew that we were from that island. The first thing they asked me, the locals, were, what's your last name? And I told them my last name, and they recognised, and they were like really surprised. They couldn't speak English, obviously, so I had a translator. And then they asked me what my father's name is, and I don't actually know my father. So they asked me what my grandfather's name was, and I told them Lomas, and they were all like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." I didn't know what the fuss was about, but Lomas in Vanuatu and Tanner Island means king. So as soon as I went there, man, I was getting treated like a king. It was outstanding. We were staying in bungalows, like the proper ones, like not a resort style, like it was proper what they built. They were still in laps and everything. That's just how they lived. And fishing was outstanding. Like
You caught turtles in that area?
yes, everything, man. Well, the biggest one was turtles, but. I'm not I'm probably not going to go deep into that because I don't really want to talk about how we caught the turtle. But I just loved fishing, and I don't know. I love swimming in the ocean. Not too deep, as long as I'm as long as I can stand up, I'm fine. But spear fishing over there is outstanding, and that's traditionally how they get their food and how they cook it. And we call it in indigenous language a cup murray, so under the ground with the coals and everything like that. And so I got to do all that and find out a bit more about my culture. And I tell you what, I'm ready to go back again because it's outstanding. It's one of the coolest things. But I still don't know a lot about my Aboriginal side because my grandmother her father is part of the stolen generation. So, she's still figuring out a lot about that. So one day when I have kids, I can give them the knowledge that I know about my people.
You've been to Torres Straits as well?
Yep, Torres Straits as well, which is...
Do you have family there?
I do have some family up there, yep.
Don't ask me about my family. I got nothing exciting.
Grays are living out there in Dolby, No, but I don't know, I feel privileged to be part of such a cool, cultures, and especially being Indigenous. I'm very proud to be Indigenous. We're the oldest living race in the world, and not knowing a lot about my culture is something that I do want to do later. So when my kids come along, I can teach them about the culture. I don't want to have to teach my kids about the negative part of Australia, and I want to be able to teach my kids about being positive, and that they are proud to be Indigenous kids. And my partner is Canadian, so it's going to be a bit of a different mix. But I'm very excited to grow up. And
What do they call that? Canadian Murray.
Yeah, I was going to say curry, but you can't call them that. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm very passionate about all of my whatever I am. I love it so much, and we got some boys here at the Bronx that are Indigenous as well, and they're very proud of it as well.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us, boys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting me crash the party twice.
No,
It's been outstanding.
Last time.